Hi there, and welcome to Studio SN, your place for card making, rubber stamping, and paper crafting tutorials. My name is Sara Naumann, and I'm so very glad you're here. Today I want to share a fun and easy way to create beautiful, soft, and shiny backgrounds with Luna paste. So I think as I tilt my card here, you can see that beautiful soft blue here in the center of my card. You might also notice a little bit around my matting effect here too. Well, this is the Luna paste, and this is from Creative Expressions. Luna paste is a texture medium, but it's got mica embedded in it. So not only do you get that beautiful shine, and this happens to be the Stellar Aqua color, so you've got a really pretty aqua color, but you've also got little bits of mica in here too. If I open this up, you can see that beautiful color and shine. So you're getting a soft shimmer without a glittery effect. It can be really soft and pearlescent, or of course you can use it through a stencil as well if you want to, and I'll show that to you in a future video. But for now, we're just looking at creating those backgrounds so quickly and easily. So what I'm going to do is move aside my card, and I'm going to bring in a piece of plain white smooth cardstock. I've got my Luna paste on hand, a couple of other tools that I'm going to have for this process. I have a palette knife. You can use a palette knife if you've got one, or you can also use a plastic disposable knife if you want to. I'm also going to use a brush, and this is going to be for my spattering effect. I've got some water on hand here too, and I have a jar with some water as well because I'm going to want to make sure I clean off all of my tools really thoroughly before I put them away because the Luna paste will dry. So what I'm going to do is scoop out a little bit from the jar using my palette knife, and you can see the consistency of this. So it's not running off, it's not drippy, it's got a nice body to it, which if you're thinking, ooh, I can use that on stencils, you are absolutely right. I'm just going to put this down onto my craft mat, and then I'm going to add a couple of spritzes of water right next to it. And I'm going to mix these with my palette knife, just blending in that water so that I get a nice watery medium here. And this is just going to help reduce a bit of the texturing effect of the texture paste, and it's also going to give me a nice fluid medium. So now I've got some of this loaded up onto my palette knife, and all I'm going to do, just starting from the center, is smooth this on a little bit like frosting a cake, but not quite as even coverage. I want to have a little bit of an abstract effect on here. And I can kind of swirl this on. If I'm lifting up my palette knife, you can see I'll get a little bit of a peaky effect. But look at that soft, beautiful shine, and look at that color. So now what I'm going to do, first of all, clean off that palette knife straight away so that I don't have this drying on here. And then I'm going to add some more water into my puddle. And I'm going to pick this up using a brush. And I'm going to make sure that my brush is nice and wet for this. And pick this up, and I'm using a kind of standard flat brush. I'm going to hold this above my piece, and I'm just going to run my finger across the bristles, and that's going to give me a spattering effect here so that I get not only the beautiful swirl of my palette knife process, but I also get some spattering on here too. It's going to be quite fine, but it really does add a nice texture to it. Now, there are lots of colors of Luna paste, so you could mix and match your colors for this part too if you wanted. I wanted something that was really monochromatic and single tone, so that's why I went with the two of them. And here we go. So I've got a really pretty, soft, shiny background. Now I've got one that is already dry, so let me show you this. And you can see how pretty that shine looks on here. Now if I touch it, it will have a texture to it. It will have a definitely different texture than that cardstock, but I think it is just absolutely beautiful. Now while I have this watery medium on my craft sheet, I'm going to bring in another piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to pick up some of that watery Luna paste on my brush, and I'm going to paint it on. This is what I did to get my matting effect. So you can create totally matching backgrounds for any of your cards. And this is going to be soft and subtle, but it will still have that beautiful luminescence. Now I can use this as my background. I can also, of course, do die cutting from it as well. So let me tilt this for you. I think you can see that mica in there. It's a really soft, pretty blue, but it also has the silver effect in there. And I've got a piece here that's dry. It doesn't take very long to dry because you have quite a thin layer. And then let me tilt this around so you can see that. Just beautiful. I absolutely love this effect. So now what I'm going to do, actually let me show you in contrast between the two of these. So this is the one with the palette knife application, and here it is just brushed on. So pretty and so easy to do. I'm going to pop my brush into my jar of water and clean up this excess because I want to bring in the original card again and show you the assembly of the card, but also those beautiful flower die cuts. So let me set aside my elements here and show you the card again. So I've simply matted this onto some black cardstock and then put it down onto that painted background. I've added the For Someone Special, and this is a die from Creative Expressions. It's one of their little sentiment dies, and this just comes in handy so much. It's a great little die to have on hand. Cut that from black and just glue that down right next to it. Now over here I've got this really pretty cluster of flowers and leaves, and this is a die set, also from Creative Expressions, and this is the triple layer wildflower die. So let me show you this. This is the package. Inside the folder of the die you'll also get some card projects, which is really nice to have on hand. But let me show you the layering effect of this, because people have had questions about that. What does a triple layer die mean? Let me show you. So you're going to have two different flower sizes. You have a large and a small. The large is about, I'd say 2 inches, and the small is maybe 1 3/4. So the flowers will come in 4 parts. So you have the silhouette, you have a medium center, you have a detail, and then you have the flower center itself. When you die cut this element, you will get a piece that looks like this. Super useful on its own. You could definitely use that to create a really pretty effect. Now when you go to do the layering, you'll take the second element, and this die does not have an outline. So when you're running it through your die cutting machine, it will only cut the little petal accents and the center. What you'll do is nest this inside of the silhouette, tape them down onto your cardstock and run it through your die cutting machine, and then you will have a piece that looks like this. You'll take the next layer of the die, same process, just simply nest it inside that silhouette, run it through your die cutting machine, and I use washi tape or masking tape to hold those together, and then you will have a piece that looks like this. And then of course for your little one, you just run that through as it is and you'll have a flower center like this. So you could use any of these by themselves, you could combine any 2 of them together, but they're meant to be layered like so. So you'll take this one and pop it down. Then you'll take the silhouette detail and pop that down as well, just nesting it right on top. And then you will take your center, flower center, and then pop that down on here. So then you have a triple layer plus the flower center. But again, you can mix and match, and you can put them in different combinations and different, you can tilt them. This is one that I did with the black on some book paper. Here's the silhouette. I could even kind of offset that to have a completely different effect. So there are lots of mixing and matching that you can do with this wildflower set, and I just think it's a really fun one to play with. So as you can see, I've used it, the large and the small. Of course you have leaves, you have a small leaf and you have a large leaf, and that's also as a triple layer if you want it to be. In this case I just used the 2 layers. This one is black, the middle is white, and then there's an off-white silhouette on there as well. So I've just clustered those with some foam tape, added a little bow down at the bottom, and I have a really pretty kind of corner treatment for my card. So this is how you can use Luna paste and some really fun cutting dies to create a simple but luminescent card project. Thank you so much for joining me today on Studio SN. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe to Studio SN on YouTube, and I'll keep you updated on the very latest stamping and card making techniques. In the meantime, please feel free to stop by my website, saranaumann.com. Thanks again for joining me today, and I will see you again next week.